Steam's getting a big UI update very soon, and you can actually try it out right now. The Asus ROG Xbox Ally price just leaked, and it's as bad as we thought. And finally, Steam has a racing games fest going on right now, so I picked out a few of my favorite racing games specifically for the Steam Deck that you should pick up before August 4th. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about the Steam Deck. I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for all the love lately on the channel. I really appreciate it. It's just been awesome seeing this channel grow so much this year, and it's all thanks to you. If you're new here or you've been here for a while, it would really help me out if you subscribed. The number was shrinking of people who are not subscribed to watch this channel, but because so many new people have come in, it has now grown to over 70%. So help me out, subscribe to the channel, set your notifications to all. Let's get rolling on the video though and talk about this new Steam UI update. It's very Steam Deck influenced, which is why I want to talk about it. The channel's called Deck Ready, but the main thing that runs the Steam Deck is Steam. So I figure if anything big happens on Steam or related to SteamOS itself, that's fair game for this channel. And I think the UI overhaul is actually pretty good. If you want to try it out right now, whether you're on Bazite, whether you're on Windows, whether you're on Mac, all you have to do is set your Steam to allow beta updates, and it'll restart, download the new update, install it, and then when it opens back up, you will have the new UI. It's actually a pretty major change because it gets rid of that whole left sidebar that they've been using for basically forever on the Steam store. It's gotten some visual updates over the years, but now it is completely gone, and I think that's good because the amount of crap that was crammed into that sidebar made it just impossible to find what you were looking for. I think they got close to a half step of being better when they added in tags. So now if I'm looking for racing games that don't include all sports and racing games, I can type in driving into the Steam search bar and it'll actually pull up driving games. So that was good. It's still like if you type in horror, you get stuff like Call of Duty because it has zombies, like the tags just don't work all that well. So one of the coolest features that comes along with this new Steam update is the ability to do an advanced search. And there's a lot of different parameters you can enter in, which I think is awesome. That honestly is one of the marquee features of this entire UI update that gets me the most excited. Another visual update pulled directly from the Steam Deck is those batches of categories. So like if you go over to non-Steam games or you use categories for your Steam library on the Steam Deck, it'll make those color-coded big square box pictures with whatever that category is. So they're like folders on the PS4 if you ever use that. So if you collect all of your Nintendo DS games into a folder, it'll scrape the art for those, make a nice little background for it, and put big block text over the actual image that tells you what's contained in that folder. Those have been kind of grafted into categories of games on Steam, and they're really easy to find now. Everything is just a lot more manageable on Steam, and I like all of these updates we've been getting because on top of this one, we also recently got one that included a visual overhaul to the Steam overlay that I think was pretty good. A lot of people were complaining about the number being too big in the FPS reader, but you can actually change the size, and that, like, I still think that was such a nitpicky thing to complain about because you also get the frame time graph and you get the 4 levels of data. It's not as complete as what we have on the Steam Deck, but it's much better than what we've had in the past. And as someone who plays a lot with RTSS, I use that for frame limiting a lot of the time. I've had to stop using it recently because I've noticed that more and more games completely break down if you use RTSS and introduce things like stuttering, random frame drops, and everything else. I'm back to just using VSync to lock my frames at either 60 or 120 depending on the game. So it's nice having an overlay that actually works, because without using RTSS, I don't get that overlay that I had in the past, which was basically just the same overlay that you get on the Steam Deck with the same font and everything. So it was nice to have that on Windows, and it sucked losing it. So I'm glad Steam kind of worked it in. These are just more hints in my opinion that they're really working to unify everything across SteamOS and Windows version of Steam in terms of UI, because obviously eventually they'd like to get to the point where they have the Steam console coming out and it is kind of your go-to spot for Steam. So you could use the Windows side of Steam to kind of dip your toe into the whole user interface and like experience as a whole, and then see that it's awesome, and then say, hey, if I pick up the Steam Machine that just came out, or I pick up the Steam Deck 2, I'll get that experience, but even better because it's baked into the overall operating system instead of being an app that runs on top of it. I updated to the beta version of Steam to get this new UI. It's great. It's helping me find niche games that I'm looking for, both in the horror genre or the racing genre. So I think it's worth upgrading to. And yeah, it should be out pretty soon because the betas don't tend to last that long. But if you want to try it now, all you have to do is update your Steam client to the beta. Speaking of Windows and Steam and the relationship going forward though, let's talk about the Xbox Xbox ROG Ally, because I think a lot of the Xbox fans out there are in for a rude awakening. I don't think you guys are, because you're pretty in tune with the fact that the ROG Ally and Ally X are both very expensive handhelds. I mean, the X is pushing $1,000 any way you slice it, and when you go to the cheaper version, the ROG Ally White Edition with the Z1 Extreme, it was also a pretty expensive handheld when it came out, and even though you can get them open box for a lot cheaper, expecting the new one that has a partnership with Xbox to be any cheaper obviously is not something that most people would expect if you're tuned into the gaming PC handheld world. We not only got the actual European price for this thing, which is easy to translate over to US dollar, we also got the date that pre-orders are going to open. So if you want to pre-order one of these things, you're going to be able to do it on August 20th. It lines up with Gamescom, which is the big European gaming trade show, kind of like E3. It's a lot bigger than E3 ever was, like thousands and thousands of people go check it out. And Xbox's ROG Ally is going to have a big presence there. It's going to be the first time a game is playable, and that game is Hollow Knight Silksong. So the pre-order date is exactly what we thought. The price is either going to be $600 for the cheaper one or $900 for the more expensive one. If you're going to buy one of these, you should not buy the cheaper one, because it's using the Steam Deck's actual chip, and then it's pushing it to a 1080p screen and also using Windows. So you're buying a Steam Deck for more money and getting less performance any way you slice it. And it probably will have less battery life as well, just because of the higher resolution screen. I don't know what they're thinking there. I don't know why they don't just use the Z2 Go or just stick with the regular Z1 from last generation at that point, and they could probably dial in a much cheaper price point, but that's what it is. You either get the Steam Deck's actual chip in a very overpriced handheld, or you get one for $900 that might have great performance. This price is nuts, man. Like, if there's no back compat with Xbox games at all, like you can't transfer your saves or anything unless it has Play Anywhere, they're gonna eat shit on this. Like, there's no other way to slice it. Like, that Xbox name marketing is not gonna make this one magically be the ROG Ally that takes off. I think Xbox either needs to buy a stake in Asus if they're gonna keep working together and make this stuff internal so that they can subsidize it, or actually make a chip of their own like Valve did with AMD back in the day. And now they're just using that chip in the Xbox. It's so weird. The one thing that really scares me is potential Xbox app exclusivity. Like, if they remove their games from Steam in the future, a la Ubisoft and EA, how they did that in the past because they were trying to grow their own apps. Of course, Epic Games in their store, they still have exclusive games from time to time, and those games just fall on their face. No tricks this time, Microsoft. Just put your handheld out there, let people install Steam, let people install the Game Pass app, let people do what they want on your handheld, which is exactly what you've been marketing, so stick to it. That's all I'm asking. I'm really interested in seeing the specs on the Z2 Extreme, like if it is going to be a huge jump over the Z1 Extreme, like if it's actually going to be able to do 1080p gaming on this thing at a decent frame rate to boot. That sounds awesome, and maybe I'd consider picking one of these up to make my Windows full screen device so I can play my Windows app version of Forza Horizon 4, because the Steam one does not work with my racing wheel for literally no reason. It's like, it's just stupid. It's like a PC storefront. It's the same game running across two storefronts, but one works with the Moza wheel and one doesn't. I'll never get that. But yeah, speaking of racing games, Steam is running a racing game sale right now. It's like Racing Game Fest on Steam. You can get some profile avatar frames and everything that are racing inspired, so go grab those with your Steam points. If you've ever watched the channel, you know I play a ton of racing games, and I'm always looking for racing games that run good on the Steam Deck and all the different subgenres. So I picked out some that I have sunk extensive hours into, and I know they run well. The first game I'm recommending is Car X Street. I don't know how popular this game is, but I never hear anyone talk about it. I actually started playing it on my phone, and I quickly bounced off because the monetization is insane. It's a full priced game though on PC at $20. Like, all the microtransactions stuff is stripped out of it, so you can use in-game currency to buy all the cars, and it's a much better game. It handles really well. The people who make it also have a big series called Car X Drift, so the drift racing in this game is excellent. Their road racing needs a little work, but they're almost there, and the open world racing reminds me of the older Need for Speed games. It runs at high settings, 30 FPS locked, completely fine on the Steam Deck. If you lower the settings, you can then bump up the frame rate accordingly. They did just announce that they are working on specific Steam Deck optimization, so that's good. I'm 99% sure it's online only, but a lot of racing games are, and since you can't play the Crew 2 or the Crew Motorfest on the deck. I don't know. This game just checks a lot of boxes, and it's on sale for $9 right now, which is a great price. The second game on my list is Automobilista 2. I hope I'm saying that right. I bought this game recently, and I've been sinking hours into it because out of all the sim racers on Steam, this one has the best AI racing, so it's great for the Steam Deck. It also runs at 60 FPS if you bump the settings down to like medium, but if you want to play at high settings, you can lock it to 40 and it'll never fluctuate at all. The handling is great on controller as well, which sets it apart from stuff like Assetto Corsa, which does not play well on a controller at all. It's on sale right now for 20 bucks for the base game, which is half off. All the DLC is on sale as well. You can get tracks, cars, and everything else. If you've played Gran Turismo before and you're ready for something a little more difficult and realistic, this is the best option. And as far as ones that run on the Steam Deck go, it really is the only option because the other ones all have major caveats, and this one really has none outside of the fact that it is over 150 gigabytes. It is so massive to download this game, but if it's the only sim racing game on your deck, I guess that's fine. I looked through all the new Need for Speeds. They're all on sale for pretty cheap prices. The problem is they all use the EA app, which sucks. So if I had to pick one, it would be Need for Speed Heat. It's a great open world racer. It's the last one I'm pretty sure that Ghost Games made. And as far as the Need for Speeds go, I think it's the most underrated since they took over for Black Box. It's a great game. I would still recommend looking up the Need for Speed Abandonware thread because you can get HD versions of games like Most Wanted from 2005, and as good as Heat is, I think that the old games are still better, but if you like the newer Need for Speeds for $5, it's worth dealing with the EA app. I set it to medium settings, lock it at 30 and call it a day. It does have some issues with traversal stutter, but it does that on every platform. It's still locked at 30 FPS on the PS5, so they abandoned it pretty quickly if we're being real, but it has a decent story. I think the multiplayer scene is still pretty active, so out of all the Need for Speeds, it's either that one or Hot Pursuit Remastered, which I think goes for the same price. If you look up any Reddit thread of racing games on the Steam Deck, the top choice is 100% all the time Wreckfest. Wreckfest 2 is an early access. I don't know what the sentiment is around that, but Wreckfest 1 is on sale for $14.99 and you can get all the DLC for cheap as well. Wreckfest is like combat racing on dirt tracks. You can race lawnmowers, you can race anything, really. There's tons and tons of different cars. It has full workshop support that all works well on the Steam Deck, and since it's a little bit older of a game, you can definitely get a locked 60 FPS out of it. I like Wreckfest. I'm just more into actual racing and not the combat side of things. I've sunk a few hours into it, just enough to know how it performs. I just know people love this game, so I'd feel bad if I didn't recommend it. I saved the best for last with Super Woden GP2. This game is on sale for $9.09, and the bang for your buck factor here is completely unmatched. Imagine if you took the incredible career mode from Gran Turismo 4 and made a top-down racer that controls immaculately. The only big drawback is that the guy who made it, because it was made by one guy, he couldn't get the licensing for all the cars, but he also shared a text document that you just drag into the game's folder that renames all the cars exactly what they are, so that's awesome. It has rally, it has circuit racing, it has oval racing, it has everything you could ever want, and the menu is very Gran Turismo inspired. This is my favorite racing game on the Steam Deck, bar none. So if I had to pick two to buy, it would 100% be this and CarX Street. I think those are two great examples of open world arcade racing on the Steam Deck and then hardcore simulation style racing. Like, don't let the art style fool you in a Super Woden GP2. It is brutally difficult and you've got to be a good driver if you want to succeed. That's all I've got for you from the Steam Racing Fest. There's some other games in there. I just tried to keep it to games I've actually played, so share your picks down in the comments below. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.